Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Russia returns the favor, and there is a massive missile and drone attack on Ukraine, mainly Kiev. And why a favor? Because Ukraine has been targeting Moscow for the past week. I think there were 3 attacks, and Russians obviously destroyed all the incoming targets. So Russia retaliates, according to the Russians, and Russia accelerates, that's the word, accelerates, according to the Ukrainians, not with the Russians, accelerate their offensive in the northeast and east of the front. We're going to cover these topics. I have details and maps about where the attack occurs, from where, and what's going on in a short Ukraine update. So let's start with the beginning. This article comes from Ukrainska Pravda and it is from Monday, the 21st of July, 2025. Russia launches 450 drones and missiles on Ukraine. 427 fail to reach targets. That's what, 23 actually did some damage? Yeah, but those 23 supposedly destroyed so much that all Ukraine is on fire. Since the evening of July 20th, Russian forces have attacked Ukraine with 24 missiles and 426 Shahed-type attack UAVs and decoy drones. Ukraine's air defense have destroyed all the missiles, OIV, and 200 drones. Now, remember this, the Ukraine's air defenses have destroyed all the missiles. All right, got it? All 24. Why do I say that? Because we have right here, Russian Ministry of Defense confirms hypersonic strikes, that's plural, on Ukraine's defense industrial base. The attack, which involved Kinzhal hypersonic missiles, plural, also hit military airfields, the defense ministry in Moscow has said. With MiG-31, correct, with a Kinzhal underneath. But hey, these guys say we destroyed all of them, all right here, all the missiles. Obviously, someone's lying, or both. All right, let's see what these guys are, what kind of weapons they used. The Russians launched the following types of missiles at Ukraine. 5 Kh-47M2 Kinzhal aeroballistic missiles from Russia's Tambov Oblast. The Tambov Oblast is located on a map. I don't have it here. It's just... let me show you, actually, it's better. So this is Tambov, kind of south of Moscow, southeast, let's put it this way. This is the map of Ukraine. I will show you on the other map. I also have a Tambov right here, which is located Ukraine. Obviously, you go northeast of Ukraine is right here. Tambov, and Moscow is exactly here. So remember, let's put it like this. Moscow, Tambov here, Ukraine here. So from here the Kinzhals were launched with MiG-31. But hey, they were all destroyed. 4 caliber cruise missiles from the Black Sea. That means they were launched from vessels, submarines, or warships. So the Black Sea obviously is in the south of Ukraine, right here where the Crimean Peninsula is. So from here we have the caliber cruise missiles. Then we have 1 Iskander-K cruise missiles from the area of Milerovo, Russia. So 1 Iskander from Milerovo. Milerovo is exactly here where my strong hand is. Area, they said. So this is Milerovo in Russia. This is where usually the Russians launch their some of their drones. From here, with love, an Iskander-M, wasn't it? Iskander-K. 14 Kh-101 cruise missiles from Saratov Oblast, Russia. Saratov Oblast, Russia. So Saratov is right here. Let's do it this way. Okay, this is Saratov Oblast. This is Ukraine. This is Tambov. This is Moscow. This is Saratov. And why? Because here you have Engels 2 air base right there with the bombers with right there on the Tamrak. Okay, so these are the bombers. This is the 95 2, and this I think it's 22 maybe. This is the White Swan, as they call it, with the retractable wings. The more speed, the wings go back, so it catches, more speed. All right, so let's see what did they do. Nothing else they give us here, but hey, no worries, we got a new voice of Ukraine. Russia hits Ukraine with 450 air assets, 224 downed. Pakaraka, they give us right here what they hit. The same thing as the other one. They say anything about it? Yeah, right here. On July 21st, Russian forces conducted a massive attack on Ukraine with missiles and strike drones, with intense strikes reported in Kiev, Kharkiv, and Ivano-Frankivsk. So where are these guys located? So Kiev, exactly here, Kharkiv right here, and then Ivano-Frankivsk or Frankivsk is right here. This is by Romania, this is by Hungary here, this is by Slovakia, this is by Poland. So this is one of the places where these baboons in the West have foreign arms manufacturing companies producing their weapons in this oblast. And not only, they also have right here, they said they will build one exactly here, if you could, right here. Why? So the Russians, in order to come with their missiles, they can come only through this narrow pass, let's put it this way. Otherwise, they have to cross into Romania. And Romanians, they are very, very, very tough guys when they have a big guy behind in this situation. So let's go to the next one. Let's see what the Russians are saying. And they confirmed that they struck Ukraine's this defense industrial base, military airfields. Let's see what they did. Russian forces have carried out a coordinated overnight strike on Ukraine's military industrial complex and airfield infrastructure. The defense ministry said in a statement on Monday. The ministry reported that the group strike used long-range air, sea, as I said, from the Black Sea, and surface-launched precision. Those are the Iskander. It also includes Kinzhal hypersonic ballistic missiles and attack drones, officials added. And I'm quoting, the goal of the strike has been achieved. All designated targets have been hit. All of them, as these guys right here. Remember, they destroyed all, right here, I'm sorry, the breeze down in 12 locations, but they destroyed all of them. Where's they right here? They have destroyed all the missiles. So they all destroyed all, but somehow someone destroyed something. Ukrainian leader, that's wrong, that's the leader of Ukraine if you want, confirmed the strikes, reporting damage in Kiev and its surroundings, as well in Kharkov and Ivano-Frankivsk or Frankovsk regions. He also claimed that Ukrainian air defenses downed drones in Sumy, Khmelnytsky, Kirovohrad, Nikolaev and Poltava region. So these are located. So Sumy, Khmelnytsky, right here. Khmelnytsky is right here. Sumy is right here. Khmelnytsky is, as I said many times before, is where the F-16s are operated from, right here. Poltava is right here, obviously, and then you have Nikolaev down here. This is where the airfields are for the F-16. As far as I remember, they are located somewhere right here, to be exact, in this area. This is because this is the city and this is the airfield. It usually is with darker, whatever that color is. All right, let's see what else these guys say. According to Zelensky, the attack lasted all night and involved more than 420 drones and more than 20 missiles, resulting in 2 people Pakatsaka. All right, next one. According to the Ukrainians again, from New Voice of Ukraine, Russia hits Kiev with more than 15 direct strikes in overnight assault. 15 direct strikes in over. Now, here is a picture of these guys that shows something like a little explosion, let's put it mildly. Russian forces launched a massive aerial assault against Kiev overnight on July 21st with over a dozen direct hits recorded in the capital. Direct hits. Oh, okay. All right. Next. Ukrainska Pravda, Russia launches combined strike on Kiev, fires rage in 4 districts, 1 person killed and several injured. So again, these guys seem to have had some success, but remember, they destroyed all the missiles. Russia hits 7 Kiev districts in deadly air raids. This is from the Ukrainian, New Voice of Ukraine. Then we have the Russians reported, the other guys, obviously, Kiev hit by missiles. How come by missiles? They said they destroyed all of them. And drones in reported Russian strike. The alleged attacks come after days of attempted Ukrainian drone raids targeting Moscow. Ukrainian officials have claimed that Russia has launched multiple waves of missiles and drone strikes on Kiev overnight. The Russian Defense Minister has yet to comment. They did in this one right here. Alright, the first strikes were reported shortly after midnight. Next, Ivano-Frankivsk comes under most intense Russian area attack. So that is right here in the far west of Ukraine, by Romania, by Hungary, by Slovakia over here, and by Poland. Civilian infrastructure, of course, large-scale Russian an administrative unit. Alright, sadly, there were many strikes. This is the most intense attack since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. So the Russians are capable and willing to strike from here or from the south, from the Black Sea, right there, the military-industrial base of Ukraine, which is in Lviv, is in Lutsk, this area far away, so the Russians can hit her. Or it's harder, because these guys have a layered defense system. They have right here, they have right here, they have right here, they have right here. So you have to go and take a shit wherever you feel like. Next, New Voice of Ukraine. Russia pushes forward in east and northeast fronts. I picked this article just because I found something very interesting at the end of it. I mean, this is already dogma. We already know that the Russians are pushing forward in the east, northeast right here, and this area in Sumy and Kharkiv, but also in the east, in here. We already know the hottest place is in this area by Pokrovsk, and they're going towards Dnipropetrovsk. That's established. I think the Russians are in here. Now the thing is, let's read at the end of the article. So Russian troops have advanced near the settlements of Pakarakaraka as well in Pakarakaraka, both of them in Ukraine's Donetsk Oblast, which is this right here. Now this is Donetsk, but the last sentence, or one of them, is actually we go here. The German outlet Bild reported that Russian forces had occupied 2,395 square kilometers of Ukraine territory since the start of 2025, an area nearly the size of Luxembourg. And this is why I picked it for this word. For comparison, Russian troops captured 3,388 square kilometers in 2024. This suggests their advance is accelerating. If this trend continues, Ukraine could lose over 4,000 square kilometers by the end of the year, almost double the Luxembourg. Got it? So the advance is accelerating. So whenever, this is according to the Ukrainians, and their information is not the Russians. Probably the Russians will double that square kilometers area. My point is, when you're gonna hear, and you will hear, that the Russian advance was stopped by the Ukrainians, probably temporarily for about 20 minutes or so, then you remember this article coming from the Ukrainians today on the 21st of July. In the meantime, the Ukrainians and the Russians plan to meet again in Istanbul. I'm all for communicating, discussing, negotiating, but the first two rounds of negotiations in Istanbul this year resulted in transfer of prisoners that were put back on the front, I guess. It's good to talk, but I would like to see something more meaningful, of a substance. Not that that transfer of prisoner is not of a substance, but That just gives you more ammunition to fight on. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.